So I've selected the spot for a couple of reasons. The camera doesn't pick it up so well, but there's quite a nice glint of light coming off the dew on the grass. So what I want to do is walk down this part here. We'll come back to this point and we'll take some pictures and videos of where I've walked, see how well it comes up. Also, I want to walk through this grass here a bit, and that right now you can see it's not disturbed at all, and I want to take some pick some videos about when you walk through bush areas like this and what sort of sign you can leave behind. Anyway, okay, I'll do that and I'll catch you guys later. Okay, so you can see where I've walked down the dewy grass. It shows up pretty well. What I'm going to do is swing around and go and take a video from the other end to see if it shows up better with the light that's behind me. See if how well that looks. It might not look any different, but often a different angle will show up better. You can see here long scuff marks, not really footprints. That's because I haven't really lifted my feet that high, and the grass, you know, it springs back a little bit, rubs on the bottom of your feet. So not distinct footprints. Sometimes a long scuff is maybe what you're looking for. Okay, so here we go. This is a nice undisturbed patch of grass. I'm just taking a pre-video of the area before I swing back and walk through it. Okay, so you can see here that nice undisturbed area right to the left here, how different this area here is. You can really see some bent over grass. The grass that's bent here is showing direction. And as you come through here, you can see that it's been pressed down. It's almost like someone's laid down here. As you're walking, you're pressing down on the grass at the bottom. You can see how coming around this corner, this is where I've walked. You can see how the grass is still pointing in the direction I've travelled. So we're going again. Again, the grass over here, pointing in the direction I've travelled. Through to my exit point here. So now I've gone through that twice, same direction. You can really see how that swung around over there, and this is my exit. You know it's my exit because the grass is facing towards me. The blades are folded down towards me. You know this is the entry point. The grass is folded away. Okay, so there's undisturbed area here where there's a bit of a barbed wire fence. You know, if someone's walking in this area, they're going to step over that. Just on the other side of that, some broken branches or dead branches that's fallen off a tree. So what I'm going to do is walk through there and we'll have a look at the difference after I've gone through. The other thing, a big thing, is looking for broken green branches. If someone's passed the path, they might have done it deliberately or just brushed past. So we'll have a look at that. Okay, so I've broken the branch here. You can see that's a real fresh break because it's, I'm just trying to make sure the camera's in focus. Let me get the camera in focus better. Okay, so it's a green stick, there's fibres, it's obviously green and quite wet. Okay, so that's a real good indication that that's a fresh break. Now, if it's dried out and you know, looking a little dead, the leaves might still be green, but you look at the break and see how fresh you can determine the break is. Okay, well, we'll go and do the dead branch walk in a second. Okay, you can see I've stepped over that area. I gently push down on those branches just to move them out the way. They're very dry and brittle and just broke, very rotten. So we'll come in and have a look at the break. Okay, so we're looking at a dry piece now that's obviously very dead, but it's a nice clean, sort of almost unoxidized, not dirty break. So you know that's a fresh break. Okay, we're in another area now, slightly different. There's a log that's covered with sort of dead grass. Now a log may be covered with lichen or a mold or moss or even just a layer of dirt. So often people step up on these logs and walk across them. Not always advisable. It's actually much more advisable to step over a log. So what I'll do is I'll do both, and we'll see if we can see a difference on the camera. Okay, so you can see where I've stepped on this part of the log. There's a different colour to it. There's broken little branches and leaves, a bit of powder where it's crushed up. Not just that, if you look past that, it sort of looks, the log looks a little bit of a different colour. Really, that's just the powder from the leaves and stuff that have been sort of crushed. So if I now step over where that's my first footprint, you'll see it now on the other side as I'll come around. Down here, where there's a bit of a depression, that's where my second foot was. And my second foot was in here. So you can see that that is quite distinct. Stepping over a log, a good indication someone's moved this in this direction.
Okay, so I'm down at a local park area. This is a nice walk. I often take my dog through here. There's a fair amount of bushland, to be honest. It goes quite a long way back. And there's some trails here. So I promised earlier that I'd see if I could find some game trails to actually show you how animals sort of slip through the bush much easier than people. So we'll walk up here and see what we can find. If I find anything on the way up that of interest, I'll take some photos and videos. Okay guys, so what I've done is I've just disturbed this deliberately. You'll notice that this whole area is pretty damp, including this area here. If this had been a dry area, it's been a fair amount of rain lately, but if this had been a dry area, you would see a colour difference between this here and where this has been removed. This is quite a common thing. What can happen is if people, you know, they're climbing up, did that fit in? I'm not quite sure. You know, they're climbing up and then they push off on that and it rolls away. And you can see that inside, even the smaller pieces are damp. Now if this had been a nice dry day, it wouldn't take too long for these smaller pieces to dry out, but the bigger pieces still remain damp. So that's a good indication of time. Now how long is just a guess, because it all depends on the conditions. You know, if it's a damp day with a bit of, it takes a lot longer to dry stuff out. If it was a beautiful sunny day, of course, then it'll dry out pretty quick. Anyway, I'll keep going, see what else we can see. I hope the camera's picking this up. There's some quite clear muddy footprints with quite strong tread here. Let's put my hand down, just here. There's little dimples. This is quite clayey, still very damp, very clear. But up here you can see a real scuff mark as someone stood there and then basically their boot slipped and slid back down. Great indicator. Okay, I've just came across this broken branch. You can see that it's quite dry in the split. If you look at the needles are, yeah, wilted, but still green. You see that's a reasonably old piece, I'd say at least possibly up to a week old. As again, that's just a guess. Okay, I've just come to a crossroads here. There's up here you'll see that the path splits. I just want to point out too, like, if you're tracking someone or trying to locate someone of reasonable mind, shall we say, or, you know, bushwalker that's got lost in the bush, we're not looking for someone who's not in full mental capacity, like a young child or an elderly person. They might be leaving markers for us, searchers, or themselves, in case they sort of have to retrack. So here's a classic type of marker. Myself, someone has laid out this marker to say I've gone this direction. Now that also could be a pile of stones or bent over grass. I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. Okay, I've just created another form of blaze where I've just grabbed some green grass, tied a knot in it and pointed the tips of the grass in the direction of travel. Okay, there's definitely a game trail here. With the camera doesn't pick up as well as your eye will. So you can see as you're going downhill there's a bit of a trail here, but you'll also note that there's overhanging branches here that are completely undisturbed. So now someone could have gone around this area here, and we get a lot of wallabies in this bushland here, and it's more than likely wallabies made this game trail, and because they can easily fit under these branches, they have remained undisturbed. I followed this game trail, and part of tracking is the ability to discern the difference between animals and people. Now there's no reason why both couldn't have travelled this path, but you will see as we've come down, we've got some disturbed dug up dirt here, some little holes where some lovely native animal has dug up a bit of ground. We swing around here, continue down this trail a bit, and you'll see again where an animal's dug up the ground. Now this is part of tracking. You can practice your skills with tracking with animals, but obviously as SES people we want to learn how to track people. Part of tracking is the mindset of what is the person doing. Again, if we're tracking someone that has a sound mind, hopefully a person with sound mind should sit down and wait for rescue, but often that is not the case. If you could work out where they're trying to head to, that would assist in your ability to track them when you don't find any sign. Okay, so I followed the game trail to the bottom of the hill here, and you can see very undisturbed branches that have led to a creek, and you can see on the other side there's a very muddy bank over there. I'll get a bit closer, but to me obviously no person has travelled through this area. I'll walk through and I'll jump across and we'll take some videos of how that looks. Okay, so I've jumped over that area, stood on the sticks and pressed them down. Loud cracks as I did that, and jumped over to this area here. You can see very nice imprint of a runner. Not me the runner, but the shoe the runner, heading up the bank. So just on the loud cracks, part of tracking is sound. If you can hear sounds that don't sound like nature, and cracking of branches, and to be honest, birds, if we're looking for someone that's potentially deceased, the sounds of crows or other birds in distress or alarm or calling each other is possibly worthwhile checking out as well. Okay, I'm back on the other side now. Just wanted to show you the damage. So this is where I went through, and we'll walk a bit closer. See that I've disturbed this area, particularly, that's a pretty fresh break, obviously because I just did it, but this is dead wood, but it looks fresh. It doesn't look dirty, nice and clean. Good indicator this is fresh. Okay, as I was climbing back up the hill, I just had noticed where I had stepped into. A good way to do some tracking is track yourself. You at least know where you've been, and it's a great way to practice. You can see how I've stepped on this log, scuffed off the moss. Okay, so that's the end of the video, obviously, because we're at the end. I'm going to have a practical exercise now, so Maybe we'll have a Q&A, and then we'll move outside. Okay, catch you later.